I'm going to speak on the 3 core mistakes people make with their bosses. 3 core mistakes people make with their bosses. And maybe I will add one. 3 core mistakes people make with their bosses. When you think about bosses here, look at it in different lights. With your pastor, with your parents, with your institute. Even though I'm majorly talking about your workplace, you can still, is the word inflect or the word is transpose? You can still use the principles there to manage any relationship where you are a subordinate. All right. Number 1 is losing personal boundaries. Losing professional boundaries. The first mistake people make in the workplace or in engaging their boss is that they begin to lose professional boundaries. When familiarity replaces respect, authority erodes and trust weakens. No matter how much your boss jokes with you, you are not supposed to joke with him. There used to be this series, an American series, I think it was West Wing. It spoke about a president and how he was handling issues in the country. And he had his aide de camp, who was chief of staff. And one time it was just a scene that stuck with me. He was in the office alone with the president, and I think they were sharing a glass of cognac or whiskey or whatever. And he said, Mr. President. Then he said, come on. Let's just say his name was Henry. He said, come on, Henry. You've known me for the last 30 years. You were at my wedding. You are the godfather to my children. You used to call me, let's say, Paul. And since I became president, you call me Mr. President. Listen, when it's just you and I alone, I would really like it if you call me Paul. He said, okay, Mr. President. You never take the invitation to familiarity with your boss. No matter how many times they say, come on, we are friends. You are not friends. Oh, you are my brother. You see me as your brother. I see you as my boss. Learn that. What does this look like when you lose professional boundaries? When you begin to speak casually. When you begin to speak casually with your boss. Joking excessively, oversharing personal details. There must be clear boundaries between what happens in your personal life and what you share in the office. You are sitting in the car, everybody is joking and telling their life history, and you are sitting on a long trip. You are telling your boss about how you used to be able to sleep with girls in secondary school and all those stories. And then now you've come back to the office a week later, your boss sees you laughing with his secretary. And you told your boss you've changed. You understand me? You are now trying to, no. Let's be clear. You are my boss. Never let it get to your head. All right? Treating your boss like a peer rather than the leader. You go for a meeting, you sit down before your boss has sat down. It's meal time. Your boss says, sit at my table, and you've loaded your plates. And you are just eating, hey, this food is nice. So then you even have the audacity to say, let me try what's on your plate. Hey. Allowing sexual and emotional lines to be crossed. Your boss now begins to pass comments about your body or your figure. Oh, your boss may be female, and she's like, you look really nice. I like the way it holds your muscles. Then you say, oh, the way you're dressed. Hey, brah, come back. You shouldn't cross those lines with your boss. The second mistake is turning the relationship into a rivalry or competing with your boss. You are not in competition with your boss. You are here to support your boss. Seeing your boss as competition poisons any form of collaboration. Even if you someday aspire to be in your boss's position, you shouldn't be trying to take out your boss. It's not Game of Thrones. Okay? Competition invites insecurity into the relationship. trying to outshine your boss rather than support your boss. You go for a meeting. The boss of your boss asks a question. You understand me? The boss of your boss asks a question, and your boss is not answering the question well. Instead of quickly sending a text message to your boss with the information, or also feigning ignorance until your boss can say, do you want to engage? Or just keeping quiet. You say, well, actually, the figures that we have show that A, B, C, D, and now the boss of your boss is engaging you directly, and you people are having banter, and you are feeling good. Your evaluation will come. Withholding information from your superiors so that they crash and burn. Your boss is going for a meeting. Let me tell you an interesting story. Years ago, my pastor was being summoned to have a conversation with management about why a particular church building had not yet been started. And there was a lot of controversy around it. And he had taken a stance that was not going to help him in that meeting. I think he told me on I think he was going for the meeting on a Friday, and I found out on a Wednesday that he was going for that meeting, and I knew he would be ambushed in the meeting. It was none of mine, but I knew he would be ambushed in the meeting. The minute I left his office, I called my architect friend, and I said, please, do you have any architectural drawings of a church? So I have some old ones. I gave him the details to put on it. I said, please, can you rework these drawings immediately for me? He mentioned the cost. I said, it's not a problem. I leveraged our relationship for that time. You understand me? He finished with them, and then he sent me the digital copies of it. I called another friend. Mind you, I was an associate pastor. I wasn't being paid by the church. It was a voluntary role. I called a friend to get it printed overnight. I called another person to pick it up and meet my pastor at the gate of the meeting. He was handed the files, the printed copies at the gate of the meeting. He looked at it, walked into the meeting. About 15 minutes later, when they asked him questions, that was the first time he was seeing the drawings. He presented the drawings. The people were like, wow, okay, progress is being made. Blah. He came out and said, you saved me. It wasn't my responsibility to hold back when I could help. Do you know what it took me to work through the night to get that done? So you must understand, it's your responsibility to make your boss look good. Even when you don't like your boss. Understand something. David refused to kill Saul. Even when it was in his power, and even when Saul was wrong, and when the time now came where it was okay for his people to kill him when he made a mistake, all of them supported him because he had sowed a seed. What you do is sowing a seed. No matter how you think about it, because you are hoping to lead one day. And my boss is incompetent. I don't like how he talks to me. That does not matter. For my first point that says losing professional boundaries, 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 40 says, let all things be done decently and in order. Galatians chapter 5 verse 15 says, if you bite and devour one another, watch out, you will be destroyed by each other. You need to support. Number 3, joining the opposition. Joining the opposition. If you ever join people in the office to complain about your boss, you are a very bad subordinate. Because there's no perfect boss. Is your boss making mistakes? Yes. Have you been able to look your boss in the face and tell them your concerns about the mistakes they are making? If the answer is no, you have no business sitting with other people and discussing those mistakes. You are a gossip and you are living in sin if you are a Christian. Gossip is a sin. Even if you are gossiping about the right things, once you kept quiet when he walked in, you are gossiping. And the Bible says outside the gate are the murderers, the adulterers, the homosexuals, and the gossips. So if you are gossiping about someone, you are ranked with murderers, you are ranked with adulterers, so please, you walk, they are talking about it, you are still sitting there. Find a reason to either change the topic or mimic receiving a call and leave. Participating in gossip or cynical conversations. Bonding with others over shared complaints about leadership. And you've actually formed a WhatsApp group in the office and you call yourself the resistance. They will sack you. Undermining decisions directly or indirectly that have been taken. The Bible, because remember, Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5 verse 9, blessed are the peacemakers. They would be called children of God. Are you making peace in the office or you are creating problems in the office? Sometimes you have to force yourself to see good. Funny thing, as you know, one of the things that is of concern to almost every Ghanaian is if the taps are flowing. Because there's been water rationing and the taps were flowing. I was excited filling my tanks. And Madame said something. She said, you see, this is a developing country's problem. In Western countries, they don't celebrate when the taps are open. And I said, that's true. That is very true. In most Western countries, no one buys a poly tank. And I said, well, in Western countries, they also celebrate when the sun comes out. You understand me? Some of them say, we have good weather today. And they just go and stand in the sun. We have the sun. You can always find something good about where you are. Do you understand me? Hello? Number 4, I told you I may add a bonus one. Forcing your boss to work like you instead of you working like your boss. It's another mistake. You must adapt to the style of your boss. It is not your boss's responsibility to adapt to your style. And this is not how I work. You must understand me. And now let me speak from the pastoring point of view. The people who get the most frustrated with their pastors are those who feel their pastors should understand them, but don't feel they should understand their pastors. Let me give you an example. I have 2 people who work closely with me. One of them has understood that if you want a quick response from my pastor, I know he's up by 2 a.m. So I will send him the information he needs or the questions I have somewhere around 4 a.m. And between 4 and 5, he and I would have decided on the issues very quickly. That person also knows that from 6 p.m. thereabout, my pastor is shutting down. Any message you send him, he will not mind you. Look, some days I even feel like insulting Kingsley. By the time I'm hitting the gym, I start hearing messages, beep, beep, and I know Kingsley is awake. Can you review this? Have we discussed this? You said I should remind you about this. And in between the breaks, while I'm working out, I go back and respond. Opoku will send at 8. He will send at 6. When it comes, he will send. Technical department say this. And what response does he normally get? Remind me tomorrow. I have said remind me tomorrow for over 6 months. It hasn't yet clicked with him that I must adapt to work with him. Are you getting the scenario? When is the best time I can approach my boss? Not when he's trying to work out payroll. You are going to request for leave when your boss is working out payroll. And he snaps at you and you say this is a toxic work environment. Do you understand me? And you can extrapolate it to engaging your parents. You can extrapolate it to engaging your spouse and all of that. You must adapt to the leader. The leader mustn't adapt to you because the leader is leading several people. If I adapt to you, it will not work for the next person. Can you imagine if every building had to create a socket for the type of pin you want to bring? So, a government building, because you are coming with a 2 pin, we should renovate the whole building and put a 2-pin. When you go to every country, they have a standard socket that they have. You buy an adapter to use your appliance if your pin doesn't work. Translate it to working with your boss. If your boss likes shouting, get used to working under a shouting environment. If your boss is the quiet kind who whispers, go and get an amplifier. But you can't, boss, can you speak up? I can't hear you. Hey. Listen, some of these things I'm telling you, if you apply it, it will save your life. If you apply these things I'm telling you, I can assure you that in a year's time, you will be promoted. And people will think you're I nearly said kissing something. People will think you are being a floor mat. It's not that you are being a floor mat, you are being strategic.